Okay, so I am going to start the critical thinking questions for Chapter 6 on memory. The first question says, some studies cited in this chapter involved one or only a few participants. A, select two of these studies and discuss the possible problems in drawing conclusions based on the results from so few participants. Okay, so in any research study, the number of participants can be really crucial in determining whether findings can be considered statistically significant and representative. Obviously, if only one patient was used, the findings might not be accurate of the entire population. One interesting study that I found in this chapter was the 1932 study by Bartlett, where he studied the distorting effects of reconstruction by giving participants stories to read and then asking them to reproduce them at varying times. The participants shortened the stories when repeated and replaced objects, with the errors increasing over time, so with increasing time the stories were more and more distorted. Another intriguing aspect of memory is the flashbulb memory, where memories for shocking events are reconstructed from a few highlights and can change over time according to William Hurst studies. Nevertheless, though, the participants seem to continuously describe flashbulb memories with confidence. Okay, so assuming that both of these studies were done with a limited number of participants, there likely could have been some flaws, like the aforementioned ones, but since the purpose of these studies is to describe typical behavior, participants must be chosen to represent an entire population, which is better accomplished with a large population for quantitative research or experimental studies. Okay, and Part B suggests several possible explanations for the findings other than those proposed by researchers. Another possible explanation for the distorting effects of reconstruction could be that their schemas were distorted to begin with, resulting in even more distortion over time. If they read the information wrong, then their framework about the story's events would be skewed from the beginning. For the study involving the flashbulb memory, perhaps the participants' memory of the events changed over time due to the repression of the event, because in many cases it could have been a traumatic experience, and in the case of this study, he did do the 9/11 attack. Also, maybe the current knowledge about the event changed the way that they viewed it and their perspective on it, thus changing how they describe how they remember the event. So there could be different explanations for both of these studies, but overall I do think that the findings are probably pretty accurate, otherwise they wouldn't be in the textbook. Okay, second question, drawing on your knowledge, formulate a plan that you can put into operation to help improve your memory and avoid the pitfalls that cause forgetting. So from a student's perspective, improving my memory is really important in better retaining information and doing well on exams and just in classes in general. One cause of forgetting is interference, which is when information previously learned interferes with new material and can cause confusion when trying to recall the material. In order to avoid this, overlearning the material makes it less likely that interference will happen. So even though I think I might know something, mastery and repetition will help to decrease interference when I am trying to do well in an exam. Another way that is really helpful to study and remember efficiently is to apply the SQ3R method that they described in the beginning of the chapter. And another tool that I often use is memory mnemonics, where I can encode difficult information into a way that's much easier to remember. But finally, I would have to say a really important way to remember, to make sure that your memory is in tip-top shape, is to sleep. As a college student, I often do not get enough sleep, but they do say in this chapter that REM sleep is really critical for memory consolidation, which is when your short-term memories are formed into long-term memories. And if you don't get enough REM sleep, then basically your long-term memories might not form and you might not do as well in an exam. So sleep is also really important. Another thing that I often do is to study and then re-study, and after I read something, it's really helpful to just go over the main points to try and get that into your memory. And another warning is cramming, which I have to say that it does happen a lot, especially as a college student. But you can only hold so much in your short-term memory, and just cramming right before exam is never a good idea. But this chapter definitely did help me with trying to find tips towards increasing my memory efficiency and decreasing forgetting things. So maybe I'll do better on the next exam. All right, thank you.